Westplex 107.1. Yes, she makes me go crazy. Boy, what an appropriate song that is to start off the morning with. Shelley Barr.
Thank you, Brad, because it's a perk to me.
She makes me go crazy. What a great song that is. Leslie Odom Jr. And God, it's got that honky-tonk piano and it's got the, sounds like the New Orleans brass section in there. Man, I like that. And in case you didn't know who Leslie Odom Jr. was, and Shelley didn't, he was Aaron Burr in Hamilton. And when I said this last week, Shelley went, "What? Hamilton? What's that?"
Yeah, I don't know what Hamilton is. We talked about it. I've never seen it, and quite frankly, I don't think I want to.
The movie was great. The movie was incredible. You know how a lot of times things get hyped and, you get a Broadway play or something like that, and then they turn it into a movie, and the movie just, man.
That's because the movie uses more poetic license than the Broadway play does.
And it's crazy. The movie is 4.5 hours long. I mean, I think it's the longest movie ever it's been released. It's just, to the point where they actually have they stop it every hour. Okay, we're going to resume the movie now. Everybody please go to the restroom. Oh, man, it's an incredible movie.
That's not true.
Oh, it is. It is.
Have you seen it?
Oh, man, I about 10 times so far.
Oh, you have not?
I did. I saw it last week. It was good.
I'm sorry, what?
I saw it last week. At the last time I saw it. Oh, it's been out since January.
On the movie theater?
Yeah,
or at the Fox Theater?
No, that song. No, at the movie. That song is from the soundtrack, where essentially he's singing to Hamilton. It's Aaron Burr who's singing to Alexander Hamilton. You make me go crazy. Oh man, it's and that's a scene where they're doing a duel, and it's it's not like the old days. I mean, they've Hollywoodized it to the point where it's not like the old days where they'd stand back to back and they'd walk 20 paces, they turn around and shoot with single shot guns. I mean, they're carrying M16s with 100-round drum magazines, and I mean, oh my God, it's an incredible fight scene. You should go see it.
Okay, so is it at the movie theaters or is it at the Fox?
No, it's at the movie theaters. They don't show movies at the Fox.
Okay, so they've turned it into a movie.
Yes. It was a Broadway play that they turned into a movie. Yeah. Oh, man, it's great.
Maybe I will go see it when the movie theaters open back up.
Well, you can sneak in. You know that. There's the sneak-in side. Do you know about that?
Yeah, but they're not playing the movies because they're closed, Brad.
No. If you know the right people, you can get them to play them. You pay them a little extra, and you sneak in through the side door. You don't go through the main door because they got the police at the main door, so you can't get into the theater. But if you know the right people, make a couple phone calls, sneak in the door, the movies are still going. Trust me. They're still going.
Yeah, I don't think I feel comfortable with that.
We have a lot of stuff to talk about today. We'll have Mike Elam at 7:30 give us an update on St. Charles County. And last week was not a good week for St. Charles County as far as 2 locations were concerned. He'll update us on that. That'll be about 7:30 this morning. And as we go through the morning, we'll keep you updated on stuff. I have to be honest with you. What's getting frustrating to me, I read all this stuff. Now the media is going the president didn't do this. He should have done this in mid-January. And keep in mind, in mid-January, he was still being impeached. I mean, that's what I think a lot of people are sort of, missing is the fact that, Congress was, the House of Rep and the senators. I mean, yeah, you know what? You go back and say, well, Nancy Pelosi, instead of impeaching the president, she should have been worried about the Charlie 19 virus.
Exactly. That's exactly it. I mean, they sit there and they were impeaching him. And then what else?
It's just, all the stuff is, and it's like coulda, shoulda, woulda. I mean, you know what? If it, and here's the thing, like me, who doesn't know anything about the stock market, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago? I said, remember one morning I said that when Boeing stock was at 95, a year ago it was 350 or something like that. It was at 95, and I said, if you had money, you'd go out and buy as much Boeing stock as you could. You'd just load up. I mean, you'd mortgage your house if you could get a loan to buy as much Boeing stock. And I actually had a friend of mine listening who is a stock market guru, who said, you can get in real bad trouble for doing stuff like that. I go, what are you talking about? He says, well, you're giving advice. I go, I'm not an expert. You're an expert. You could get in trouble for getting that advice, on the radio, but I'm just Joe Stupid, I don't know anything. That's like me saying, hey, if you want to buy a great house, go buy a house in Ladue. People go like, oh, okay, I'll go buy a house in Ladue. So then the stock within a week went to 195 or something crazy like that, 180. It like doubled in price. And everybody, and what's crazy about it is you already got people. I heard people over the weekend talking about, oh, I got to sell my house because I'm underwater right now. I just bought it 6 months ago and price my house is what. Oh, come on, that's does that same person say, oh, I just bought a new car and I paid $20,000 for it and I drove it off the lot and now it's worth $15,000. Oh, I think I'm going to sell it. No, it's just one of those things, just the way things go. And then there is your daughter, which this is so funny.
What?
The deal with your daughter.
What about my daughter?
You don't know about this, do you?
Her birthday was yesterday.
I know.
Well, yeah, because you tried to call her on Friday.
We'll talk about it in the 7 o'clock hour, which is really funny.
Okay, so tell me.
No, we'll talk about it in the 7 o'clock hour.
It's my babes. I should know.
You've got, it's 6:11 right now. We've got about 59 minutes and 22 seconds before I'll tell you what happened. You know most of it, but you don't know the part of it that I know.
Okay.
Okay. Because you were here when I called her, right? You heard it.
Yes, I was.
It wasn't like this is a big secret, like I, called her at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Hey, Tiffany. Oh, no, that kind of stuff,
No.
Although maybe
that would be me calling her at 3 o'clock in the morning
to
her.
Do you really call her at 3 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, I did.
When?
On her birthday.
Oh, man, did she answer the phone?
No, she just texted back sleeping.
Oh. I was going to say, do you mean you got a kid that answers her phone? I call my kids and they don't answer anymore,
No, Tiffany usually answers unless she's sleeping.
Yeah, my kids only call me when they need something.
Yeah, my babes isn't like that.
When my son has trouble with his car, guess who he calls? Dad. Remember it was earlier this year where he got stuck, remember? And I went and dug him out, in the snow. Don't you remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's because you're their rock, Brad.
No, I'm Mr. Fix-It. That's who I am, Mr. Fix-It.
You're like MacGyver.
Don't we know Mr. Well, that's what my kids. I told you that about I don't know.
That they think that you're a CIA agent because you can do pretty much anything.
My one son still thinks that. My one son really thinks I'm a CIA agent. He really, honest to God, does. It's so funny.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Well, and what's crazy about it is I know someone whose husband was a CIA agent, and she didn't know it for like 20 years.
That's a good relationship right there.
Well, but what's funny about it is if you watch the James Bond movies, and I don't know if they do it anymore, but like in the original James Bond movie where he was like, socializing when he was out with people, and they asked him what business he was in, he would say import-export, because that's why he traveled all over the place. He was import-export. And that's what this guy told his wife. He was in an import-export business, which is funny because now, hindsight being 2020, she looks back and she goes, I think he was telling me, but he wasn't, and because that's like, if you're, like I said, if you're a James Bond aficionado, you know that line. It's almost like, Bond, James Bond. But he doesn't say it anymore in any of the movies. But that's what he used to be. He was an import-export because that's how he was like, going all over the world and traveling and stuff like that.
I think they should have a black James Bond, and I think it should be Will Smith.
Why do we need a black James Bond? I think the new James Bond is going to be a woman. I think in this one, I think he retires or he gets killed or something like that. It's going to be a woman.
Yeah, see, I don't know how I feel about that.
I think the new James Bond should be Jamie Allman, and they'll just change his last name from Allman to Bond. He'll be Jamie Bond. and he'll be the international talk show guy. And what he'll do is he'll just slice people with his tongue. If somebody comes up to him and like
with
karate,
his sharp wit.
yes, with his he'll just oh my God, I've been decimated by Jamie Bond.
That was weird. Oh, look, 6:15.
Westplex 107.1. Say it right. Good morning to you. It is BS in the Morning. I am Shelley. She is Brad. And that's how we roll here at the radio station. We are broadcasting live on Westplex 1071. You can find our website at westplex1071.com. And the website for Shelley and I is bsinthemorning.show. You had a question?
Yeah, but I can talk to you off air about it.
Oh, no. Talk about it right now.
No, we'll talk about it off air.
No, go ahead right now. Hey.
No.
Do you mean you're going to keep secrets from our listeners?
Sometimes that needs to be done.
What could that be? It's 36 right now. I mean, that's the official temperature right now. It's supposed to only be 48 today. 36.
It's cold.
I painted yesterday.
It shouldn't be cold, but it is.
I painted yesterday, and before I painted, I read the label on the paint, and it said, do not paint if the temperature will drop below 35 degrees within 24 hours. So yesterday, I pulled up the forecast from the weather wizards at Weldon Spring, and it said the low was going to be 45. I thought, oh, okay, well, I got 10 degrees, no problem. It's 36. I think they missed it a little bit, by 10 degrees. So I hope my paint doesn't freeze and fall off. Man, it was one of those things. I'm painting old wood, and you got to prep it, and you got to scrape the old, the old paint off, and then you got to work on the henway. I mean, it's something.
You have to work on the henway?
Yeah. You never painted before?
I've never painted a henway before.
No, you don't paint a henway. That's what you do. You got to work on the henway. It's something you do when you're doing painting.
Okay, good to know. Because during this shutdown, I'm going to paint my house.
Okay, you're going to laugh when I tell you this, but over the weekend, I saw a video, and this was not a ha-ha, funny, make-believe movie video, but I saw a video of a guy, in a bar. I mean, obviously, it wasn't current because no people are in bars right now, but it was a guy in a bar, and in the back of the bar, there was a big sign that said, "It smells like Updog."
No, you didn't.
Honest to God, I swear I'm not kidding you. It was a big
Did you
sign.
Take a picture of it?
No, it was just seeing a video. I probably should have done a screen cap of it, but
yeah,
it was like, okay, I don't believe that. Anyway, yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. You have to admit that's pretty funny.
Well, it's one of those things, Shelley, it does smell like Updog this morning.
I smell like Updog?
It smells like Updog. Don't you smell that?
That's on your side of the table because my side of the table doesn't smell like Updog.
Okay. Whatever you say. It is. And by the way, next hour.
Yeah.
I have to tell you something about my ex-boss.
Is that the one that keeps on dumping on Trump?
Oh my God. Yes. I mean, and once again, this is Joel Denver. Okay, he runs a respected media website. This guy essentially is a journalist, okay? And if you follow him on Twitter, every single day, it's the same old stuff. The whole problem with the country is Donald Trump. He's a lying, blankety blank, and we should impeach him again. And this time it's going to stick. And that's all day long. That's all he ever says. And what's crazy about it is here he runs this really good website called allaccess.com. Well, you'd never know it from his stupid Twitter feed. It's to the point where, hey, dude, and he's been doing it for a long time. He's like a pioneer. He started this in 95. This is his 25th year on the internet. How many companies can you say, have been on the internet continuously for 25 years? There's probably hardly any. Because I first put my
you've had your website since,
but not the same company. I put a website up in 93. And got frustrated with it in probably 2001, 2002 because I couldn't make any money at it. and to the point where it's just, that was before things really started to happen as far as selling advertising time and the whole bit. And here's this guy who's been at it for 25 years, and he's one of these guys that's like, well, I live in Malibu. Oh, excuse me, I didn't realize you were one of the rich folk, the hoi polloi, that lives in Malibu. He's saying that, like in one of his tweets, he's going like something about air pollution. Donald Trump doesn't know what he's talking about. I live in Malibu, and once upon a time the pollution was terrible, and now it's not bad at all, and it's all because of Obama. Well, okay, whatever.
No, isn't it because nobody's working because there's a pandemic?
Well, that's what's going on, like in a lot of the European countries and in India. They talk about. I heard,
let's be real.
Well, it's funny you should mention. I heard something over the weekend that in India there are people saying like, wow, the sky's actually blue. Because normally it's so polluted, It's like in China, we talked about those air pollution maps, the ones from the satellites that, when they shut down Wuhan, that, for like the first time like in decades, the air pollution was down to almost nothing. And then, it's all our fault. The United States, we're the ones that pollute everything, right? Yeah. 627. Westplex 107.1, Dancing with the Stranger. Good morning to you, 638. It is BS in the Morning. She is Brad. I am Shelley. Our website is bsthemorning.show. Aren't you glad you don't live in Santa Cruz, California?
I am. I actually like living right where I'm at.
Do you know one of the reasons why you should be glad you don't live in Santa Cruz, California?
Why?
Shall we say they're a tad bit anal? Is that the right word to use?
Anal retentive?
Well, here's the story. Okay. The Santa Cruz Police Department, and I'm not making this up, they actually tweeted this out. They were proud of this. Okay, here's their tweet. 7 times $1,000 equals one expensive hangout. Everyone should know by now that this is not the time to meet up and party. Officers cited 7 $1,000 tickets for shelter-in-place violations to help these guys remember their time in Santa Cruz. 7 people drove from Fremont, California, to Santa Cruz to go to a 7-Eleven to buy some alcoholic beverages. And they were arrested and ticketed. And matter of fact, the Santa Cruz Police Department on their tweet had a picture of all 7 of these people sitting on the curb in front of the 7-Eleven store, handcuffed.
Were they practicing minimum safe
That's
distance?
the funny part of it is they're like, a couple people are like sitting, you can see there's like, I don't think, but the biggest distance between any of the 7 of them is like 2 feet. Okay, so they went to a 7-Eleven and they said that they had to get, because drinking was essential. So essentially, and here's what's interesting,
That's why they haven't closed down the liquor stores.
Well, if you read between the lines, it said they came from Fremont to get some essential drinks, Police Chief Andrew Mills tweeted. If you're not from Santa Cruz and you put our community at risk, you will get a ticket. Hashtag shelter in your own town. So in other words, if they would have been from Santa Cruz, they wouldn't have got a ticket. But since they were from Fremont, that would be like, the O'Fallon police saying, pulling up to like a shopping, like the Wally World there on K, pulling up and going like, hey, what are you doing? Well, I've just come here to buy some toilet paper. Hey, where are you from? Well, I'm from St. Charles. Well, sorry. You go back to St. Charles. Don't bring your germs into O'Fallon. You know what I mean? It would be like, okay, come on. Lighten up a little bit, And then there's these crazy stories about, this is going back and forth all weekend about the church services in Kansas. Did you hear about this? Well, a lot of states are saying, that there were church services that you shouldn't have church services. Matter of fact, there was an interesting picture. If you see it on the Post-Dispatch, actually sort of interesting. It's a Catholic church and a priest who's giving the service yesterday. And he had all the parishioners send pictures, and he printed them out and put them like in all the pews, which is sort of cool. You know what I mean? And he did the service. He streamed it, but he's talking to like the various people. And I see the so-and-so family over here, and thank you for being here this morning. But it was all pictures. Anyway, going back to the thing.
That's actually a very cute idea.
I know. I thought it was neat. So going back to the Kansas thing, that apparently the governor said, the governor outlawed church services yesterday. So then the United States Attorney General came out and said, no, you can't outlaw church services. That's a basic, right under the Constitution. And then they took it, the Kansas governor, somebody took it to the Kansas Supreme Court. The Kansas Supreme Court says, yes, you can outlaw church services when there's a pandemic going on. And then there was the story, all these other crazy, weird stories from yesterday, Easter Sunday. Then there was a story of a church somewhere where, I can't remember this was, I'll have to look this up, where they were actually in the church, but they were like all social distance, but the police were ordered to go through the parking lot and write down all the license numbers of the cars in the parking lot, and they're going to get a ticket.
So how many people were in there?
Talking to your Nord again.
You are absolutely correct. That's exactly what I was doing.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I mean, but once again, it's one of these things where it's like, okay, hold on a minute. The deal with the Santa Cruz and that, like once again, the Chiefs.
Well, it makes a difference. I thought that we were allowed 10.
Well, but it depends on, it depends where you're at. Like in California, you're not supposed to leave your house. Unless you're like your house is on fire, you're not supposed to leave it. Unless you're essential people. The crazy thing is, and I know some people are going to go, oh, he's the one that's causing all the problems. I'm out every day, okay? Yesterday, I have to admit to you, I was doing painting. I was like doing some fixing up some stuff, okay? So like a dummy, I go to, because there's a particular brand of paint. You know how it is nowadays. If you go to one store, if you go to like the Highs and HD, you know what I'm talking about? The two different hardware places, Highs and HD. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So there's a particular brand of paint that I like that I've had very good results with. That's at Highs. So I go to one of the Highs yesterday and pull in the parking lot. It's like 10 o'clock. And I'm going, I guess they don't open until noon. And I sit there in the parking lot. I'm about ready to go up to the window and go like, oh my God, it's Easter Sunday. I forgot, they're closed. So I went down the street to Wally World, okay? Place is jumping, there's tons of people in there, and I'm thinking to myself, okay. And one guy, I got my crazy respirator that's got the big filters on it. There was one guy in there that had me beat. He had a full face mask, like the kind the firemen have, but not with like the breathing tank, that has like it covers your entire face and you got like the clear lens in the top and then you got the breathing on the bottom. And I walked by him and I gave him a thumbs up and he gave me a thumbs up back.
Oh, you were bonding.
Yes, because him and I were like the super face masks in the store.
Oh, how cute.
But, and you know what? Yesterday, and by the way, the Schnook stores are still closed. They closed on Saturday night. They don't open till noon today.
Well, they probably needed to give their workers a break.
Yeah, but look at the Wally World people, man. They're working 7 days a week, they're making...
Yeah, but Wally World is a little different than Schnucks.
Well, yeah, they pay their workers about, I think, Wally World, you start at like $32.50 an hour. I think this is what you start at, Wally World.
That's not true.
Oh, yeah, $32.50 an hour.
That's a lie.
Oh, no, true.
No, it's not.
True, yeah.
Brad, it's not true, and I will bet you on that.
Shelley, I went back at the Walmart yesterday to check it out, the employee parking lot. Mercedes, Lexus, Land Rover. It's all the people that work there.
No, you're BSing me. Stop
I'm telling
it.
You, I wouldn't kid about a thing like that. 645. Westplex 107.1. How'd I do on that one? Was I okay on that one?
That was actually pretty good. I'll give you 2 thumbs up on that one.
I'm always
2 doinks.
Actually,
you deserve 4 doinks.
4 whole doinks?
4 whole doinks.
I'm trying to play it, but it won't. Hold on a minute. What's going on here? Oh, I know why. Hold on. I got a problem here. My computer system.
You need to plug it in?
No. It's all messed up. It's all messed up.
Oh, did your buttons get all messed up with all the crap that you keep on putting in there? Doink, 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 doink.
There we go. 4 doinks.
He had to find it, ladies and gentlemen, because he's got so many little...
It was right there in front of me. And by the way, sad thing with tornadoes in Alabama. I mean, did you see that? I mean,
what happened?
Over the weekend, yesterday, terrible storms, tornadoes, people killed, hit another airport, destroyed a bunch of planes, destroyed a bunch of houses. I mean, it's just really sad. I mean, think about it. times are screwed up enough with, the Charlie 19 virus and the whole bit, and like that tornado hits you on Easter Sunday. I mean, that's the kind of thing where we got to be calling Chris Highfill and say, okay, Chris, explain this to us. How does this happen? Why, how does this happen to good folk, especially good folk in Alabama, and Easter Sunday? I mean, what's the deal? And
but
by the way,
were they together?
There's storms. Matter of fact, if you watch this, I'm the weather nerd. I was watching all these storms going through the South, watching the national radar, and oh my God, some of these areas were just getting pummeled. I mean, you could see that the intensity of some of the storms in some of the areas, and once again, it's stuff that went to the south of us. I mean, it didn't come. I think it hit. There was some of the stuff that hit in southern Missouri, but majority of it was like essentially along I-40, if you know where that's at, south of Interstate 40, which goes through.
We got some of our own little weather.
Yeah, but not like they had. It was like big time, like crazy weird stuff. Tornadoes.
I'm so sorry
and stuff
for
like
that.
Oh yeah. So. Here's a Facebook post, okay? Not to make light of it, but yes, we're going to make light of it. Okay, you ready? The most Alabama thing ever, tornadoes on Easter in the middle of a pandemic, and the weatherman referenced a strip joint and a barbecue place as landmarks. So the weatherman at one of the TV stations is giving track of the storm, and I know we shouldn't laugh at it, but it is sort of funny, barbecue place and a strip joint. It's like and what's so crazy about
those might be the center points in town.
Well, when I go down to see my son down in Pensacola, I go down 55 and I cross over the Mississippi there at Memphis, and then cut through Tennessee, then into Mississippi. Go down south at Tupelo State Highway, or I guess it's U.S. Highway 45, and that takes you down straight.
Do you go through Hattiesburg?
No, it goes straight south all the way down to Mobile, Alabama, and boy, that stretch. When you get into southern Mississippi and when you get into Alabama, and especially, the Mobile area, is really nice.
It is. It's lovely.
Very beautiful area. Because always people, it's Alabama. It's to the point where it's like, give me my choice between Alabama and Illinois, between like Edwardsville and Chicago. I'll take Alabama any day, because there's trees, there's it's nice and scenic.
There's things to look at besides gray fields.
Yeah, when you go north in 55, like 55 between Edwardsville and like all the way almost all to Chicago, like Springfield, there ain't much there. It's nothing but farm, and they talk about Kansas being boring. Man, it's not as bad as Illinois. It's 6:57. Are you feeling meh about Westplex 107.1? I'm sorry, I can't resist Kids Bop Karen.
You were just so hilarious.
Oh, what are you? Sorry, I didn't have you turned up. What did you say again?
I said you're just so hilarious.
I think it's so funny. Kids Bop Karen. Remember that bizarre video?
Yes, I remember.
Have you ever seen, there's a bunch of remix, if you don't know what we're talking about, this is some crazy thing that happened, earlier this year, where some lady got cut off in traffic. There's an Uber driver and has a woman in the back seat, and she's the one that videotaped it. So at a stoplight, this lady gets out of her car and she sticks her head in the window, the passenger side window, and she goes off on the Uber driver. And the lady in the back seat, who is the Uber passenger, says something to her. And then, as she's been known as Kids Bop Karen, goes off on the gal in the back seat. And what's funny is there's all these videos where people have stripped the audio off of it. They put in new audio. Like they're doing like they're doing voices and they're like doing the lip sync, the
like
bad
they do with dogs.
Well, the bad lip sync stuff, like you see the NFL films where it's pretty funny. Okay, at least it was funny to me. Okay, it's 7:08.
And that's all that matters.
Yeah, 7:08. It is BS in the morning. I am Shelley. She's Brad. Okay, so on Friday morning, all Friday morning, Shelley, like when we're off, we're playing music and we're playing commercials, we're off the air. Shelley's going, "Are you going to call my daughter and wish her happy birthday on Sunday?" I don't know, I'll think about it. Went out all morning. You gonna call Tiffany? You gonna get her on the air and wish her happy birthday? Think about it. So
it wasn't all morning. I asked you twice.
All morning long. I got the recording. A matter of fact, I listened to it over the weekend 42 times from the time we went on at 6 o'clock till 8 o'clock. Sometimes she would text me. Are you going to call Tiffany?
That is so not
Are you going to call her? Wish her happy birthday?
Back.
I mean, a carrier pigeon came into the studio, and I pulled this little message off,
to him.
and it
He's
said,
just blah blah blah.
It said, "Are you going to call Tiffany and wish her happy birthday?" Oh God, a carrier pigeon. So at like 8:30, I called her. Now, the studio line here that we call out on is like a number that's different from my number and Shelley's number. So the downside we have is that if we try to call people, sometimes they won't answer because they see this number come up. I don't know who that is, so they won't answer the phone. So I said to Shelley, I bet you any money she doesn't answer. So
can't you change that ID and make it like
it just comes up as call. It just comes up at the phone number. It comes up as.
But you can change that. You can change that to make it come up with anything.
Yeah, I know. And when it comes up right now, I'll call you. It says calm down, calm down. That's what it says on.
No, it does not.
It says calm down, calm down.
You're so cray.
No. Okay. So I call her on the air at like 8:35, and it rings and it rings and it rings, and finally goes to voicemail. So just on the spur of the moment, I do my goofy authority voice. Hi, this is Mr. Smith from the Missouri Department of Birthdays. I can't remember exactly what I said. We just wanted to call you and tell you that due to the coronavirus situation, that your birthday on Sunday, it's been canceled. And yes, I'm sorry to inform you this, but we're canceling your birthday on Sunday. If you have any questions, call us at the 800 number. And I hung up.
I bet she thought that when she heard it, I bet she thought she was being punked.
She didn't know it was me. So
what?
Yes, she didn't know it was me. So yesterday morning, let me see if I can find it. I get a text. Okay, here's my text. Hi, this is Tiffany Gaines. My mom told me that you have me that cute and hilarious message on Friday. OMG, me and my friends at work loved it. It made us all smile and laugh at work, even though it was a really crappy day. Thank you for bringing us some joy and laughter. It was hilarious. She didn't realize it was me until you told her that. And apparently, did she work on Friday? When did she work? Friday or Saturday?
I don't know.
Well, apparently she's at work, and she's at the hospital, right?
Oh, yeah, she was at the hospital. It was Friday.
Yeah, okay, so she's playing her fellow nurses this voicemail of me canceling her birthday, not knowing it's me, thinking it's just like a prank call, which it sort of was. It turned out to be a prank call because we were trying to get her on the air because she wanted to wish her happy birthday, and she didn't answer. It just went to voicemail. So she's going around. What hospital she work at?
I'd rather not say.
Okay, so she works at I know which one.
She works in the ER.
She works
at a hospital as a paramedic.
With George Clooney?
She's graduating.
With George Clooney?
This Thursday.
George Clooney?
This Thursday is her last day of school.
Well, she's not graduating Thursday.
No, but she can take her NCLEX.
Okay. God, I love those NCLEX. I went to Church's Fried Chicken over the weekend. I go, do you have any of those NCLEX? And they go, no, I'm sorry, we're out of NCLEX. I go, I drove all the way here for NCLEX. Anyway, so she's thinking this is like Joe prank call, and it was me and you, which was sort of funny. And she didn't realize this till apparently you said something to her, what, Saturday or something like that? And we tried
I said, check your voicemail.
Oh, she already did because she said she played it at work.
Oh, okay. Then she must have. Well, this is when I told her to check her voicemail before all this started.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so I thought that was sort of funny. So
that's hilarious.
She's thinking it's maybe I'm missing my calling. Maybe I should. There's what's that
Be
one?
A punker?
Well, no. Where's that one service that they have the celebrities and you pay them so much? What is it? Cameo? Isn't that what it is? Cameo? You know what I'm talking about?
Know.
I think it's Cameo. Here, let me look at it. Cameo, where essentially you go online and you can pick a celebrity, and then they'll like send a video, customized video to personalized shout outs. Cameo. Okay, where you can go online and you can say, hey, send me you can pick people, and depending upon how famous they are is how much it costs, and then you can have them do a video that you can send. to someone. So it'll be like, I don't think you get the Kardashians, but somebody, movie star or something like that. Remember that was the deal that, what was it? What was the guy's name? Sugar Ray. What's the guy's name? Grath. What's the first name? What's his first name? The good looking dude from Sugar Ray. The head
Sugar Ray Leonard?
No. The group, Sugar Ray. His name's something McGrath, Chris McGrath or something like that.
Know even what they sing.
Well, Sugar Ray. You don't know who Sugar Ray is?
Clearly not.
You know who Sugar Ray is.
What did they sing?
We play the songs. Anyway, so the cameo thing got a lot of attention because some guy, I think it was either a guy or a gal, paid Mark. I think it's Mark McGrath. I think that's his name, Mark McGrath. They paid Mark McGrath through Cameo to break up with his girlfriend. Now, I shouldn't laugh at that, but it is sort of funny when you think about it. It's like, okay, how low do you have to go that if you're going to break up with somebody, you're going to buy a gig on this website, Mark.
Not to mention the fact that he's breaking up with her via video.
Yeah, Mark McGrath.
That's like breaking up with her on text.
Mark McGrath. And by the way, you know what? One of my favorite songs is, and I didn't even know this existed, and I don't even know how I found it on YouTube. One of my favorite songs is Party for Two with Shania Twain and what's the country guys?
Yes, I know that song.
Billy Currington, I think it is. Okay,
yeah.
Party for Two. Do you know there's another version of that song and another version of the video with Mark McGrath? And it's like a remix, and it's essentially the same video done with her and him. Where like if you saw the original Party for Two video at the end of it, they're like in some swanky French resort and they're hanging from a chandelier, and then there's the Billy Currington version, and then there's the Mark McGrath version, which is like the exact same thing, but it's a
Shania kind of gets around, doesn't she?
But it's a remix. It's not like a country song, it's like a rock song. So anyway,
how come we don't have that?
I didn't know it existed until like 2 weeks ago when I found it by accident when I was,
Well, that was 2 weeks ago. Why don't we have it now?
Well, we don't even play that song here. We play it on KSLQ. We don't play it here.
Well, if it's a new song, we should play it on
No,
here.
It's not a new song. It's an old song. Party for Two.
Oh, okay. It's a remix, so therefore it's new.
No. They did it at the same time. What they did was it's essentially there's two videos now. There's video with Billy Currington and Shania Twain, and it's doing the country version, Party for Two. And then there's the remix version, which is the exact same video, but instead of it being Billy Currington, it's Shania Twain and Mark McGrath. But it's the same thing. They're in the same scenes. In other words, they obviously shot two different versions of the video, one with Mark McGrath, one with Billy Currington, and then they spliced them together differently. So there's the one that's got Shania Twain and Billy Currington, in the same places, like it's in London or Paris or something like that. And then there's the other version, which has Mark McGrath and Shania Twain. But they're done with the exact same shots, a little bit different because the story's a little bit different with the Mark McGrath video. But essentially, it's the same thing. And we're like, I've never seen this before. Sort of weird.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah. 717. Westplex 107. That's what I just said. Westplex 107.1. It is BS in the morning. I am B. She is S. And we have weather coming up just in a minute with our Jennifer. What's her name again?
Wojcicki.
And she's our meteorologist. She will be with us momentarily. In the meantime, I have the second most important man in St. Charles County. The first most important man is, of course, Caleb Hunter. The second most important man is Mike Elam. Mike, what's wrong? Are you choking?
No, I was just laughing because, Caleb Hunter, keep the lights on, baby.
Yeah.
Extreme Electrical will make it work for you.
Well, see, that's a running joke that he does our top of the hour IDs, and when we finish the show, Shelley and I always introduce him because he does the top of the hour ID. We always introduce him as the most important man in St. Charles County, and here's the most important man in St. Charles County, and then Caleb comes on, and he gets embarrassed by it because we keep calling him the most important man in St. Charles County, and because he undoes your shorts.
This is true. This is very true.
Yeah. Good old
Oh,
Caleb.
my gosh.
Mike.
And he's also got to be one of the most busiest guys in St. Charles County because Caleb is at everything. I serve on the board with him with the O'Fallon Chamber of Commerce and Industries, and that guy is a ball of energy, man.
You know what they say, if you want something done, ask a busy person to get it done, right? And then it gets done, right?
That's true. Very true.
Because they somehow or another, they are able to work things into. Mike Elam is a county councilman for which district again? 3?
District 3, correct. It's mostly Cottleville, Weldon Spring, but there's a little St. Peter's, little Darden Prairie, little O'Fallon mixed into there. About 55,000 residents.
You are just a multi-jurisdictional kind of consul guy, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, there's only 7 of us. There's quite a few zip codes, so we can
right. And we have been calling him on a weekly basis for updates and things. And last week, Shelley and I were talking about this. Boy, the Frontier Health and Rehabilitation Center and the Centerpoint Hospital, lots of cases coming up through that. And what's the scoop on that? Anything more on that as far as, because St. Charles County has been pretty decent. What's the current numbers in St. Charles County?
The last numbers that I saw were 350 positives and 12 deaths that we had throughout the county. And unfortunately, Frontier accounts for just under half of all the deaths that we've had in the county. And if you put those two places together, you're talking about a quarter of all of the positive cases that we have so far throughout St. Charles County.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, you can sort of see if you're in a confined area like that, which obviously, a nursing home and a rehabilitation center is, and the other one's a hospital. I can see where that happens, but boy, it was like Shelley and I were talking about like this last week. Every day we got the press release, and there was more cases, and it was like, whoa, man, stay away from those places, right?
Yeah, well, I think it was one of those things where, and I think we talked about this a little bit last week, the more testing that becomes available, the more of those confirmations you're going to have. It's not so much that it's all these new cases, it's just new to us, if that makes sense.
Well, and plus, once they started having it, I think they tested everybody. They tested all the patients and all the staff as well, too. So essentially, they got everybody as far as the testing is concerned.
Right, and if you had more widespread testing, I think that you would see, well, I know, you would see our numbers jump dramatically. But luckily, for the most part, our county has come through this pretty well so far. Our healthcare system hasn't been overwhelmed, and hopefully it stays that way.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I heard a thing last night, and I actually tried to verify it, but and I've come close to it, that they say that, and this was a national number that I heard, that on any given day, nationally, hospitals are at 85% capacity. And this is like an overall general number. And you know what they said the capacity is right now? 45%.
Wow. Well,
yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, there's a lot of elective procedures that happen on a daily basis.
Right.
That are going to put people in the hospital for, that 24-hour stay, 23-hour stay, as the insurance companies would say. But right now, all of that has been put on hold. And unless you absolutely have to be in the hospital, because really of what we just talked about with those two places, having people in a confined area is going to lend itself to having the disease spread. If it does make it in there, it's really going to hit like wildfire because it is so contagious at certain stages of this virus. So you really want to keep people away. What I've been pleasantly surprised about hearing is the New York numbers. And they built all these hospitals, and they brought in the Navy hospital ships, and those are very little capacity right now, which means that what they were expecting is not coming to fruition right now. And again, hopefully that's a trend that we continue to see.
Aren't you an ex-Navy guy?
I am. I'm a Navy corpsman.
That's what I thought. Yeah. And were you assigned to the Marines?
I was.
Yes.
I was looking through my paperwork when we were walking around in the woods with these guys going, no, it says U.S. Navy, not U.S. Marine Corps. But there I was, walking around in the woods.
See, I know somebody else who was a Navy corpsman, and they said that was the interesting aspect of it. He said the same thing. He said, I joined the Navy, and I ended up in the Marines because of the fact that the Marine Corps has no corpsmen. They have the Navy corpsmen because they're sort of like allied services. So so did you spend any time with the Navy, or were you just pretty much always with the Marines?
I spent a little bit of time with the Navy in the beginning, but it was mostly with the Marines. And The Marines love it when you bring up that the Marine Corps is actually under the Department of the Navy.
Yeah, they don't like that.
That's something that they're always thrilled about. But I got to tell you, man, if you're a Navy corpsman, there is no better friend that you have in the world than a United States Marine. I was never treated better in my life than I was with Marines. They were always great to me, and I loved the Marine Corps. They were awesome.
Well, if nobody's told you today, thank you very much for your service to the country, Mike.
Thanks very much. My wife didn't say that this morning when I got up. I'm like, why did you turn the light on? It said I thought that noise was the trash truck, and I hadn't put the trash cans out yet. I was kind of freaking out a little bit.
So now tonight is a county council meeting, correct?
Tonight is a county council meeting. Again, it's not open to the public, but you can stream the county council meeting tonight at sccmo.org. There's a link on the homepage of the website to where you can see what's going on tonight. So we want to keep the public safe, but we also want to keep them as informed as we possibly can. And I'm hoping that we are going to see a update from our health director, but we will see. He would Skype into the meeting, and they would have his report that way. We keep our department heads out of the meeting because there's really no reason for them to be there as well.
So now, and the way you're doing it again, not all the council people are there. Some of them are Skyping in?
No, all the council people, well, I expect all the council people to be there this week, but we spread us out, so we're not all sitting together. So we'll put 3 down front, and we'll put 3 up on the dais, and then we'll leave space in between all of us, trying to be cognizant of our spacing and leave the room in between.
Now, if someone wants to comment, is there a commenting procedure where you can Skype in or something like that?
You can actually send your comments in today to the council. Just send it to council@sccmo.org, and they actually read the comments during the meeting. So
no kidding.
Send them in, and yeah, Claire and Donna read them during the meeting.
Is Arnie send his in?
You know what? He didn't last week. He actually marched around outside during the council meeting yelling the entire time. So you got to give it up to him for an hour and a half of straight yelling. Good lungs there.
Where was he outside? Was he outside the building, or where was he?
He was outside the building. Yeah, he was marching up and down on the sidewalk, just yelling the entire time.
Could you hear him inside?
You could. You couldn't really make out what he was saying, but you could hear him.
Wow.
America's a free country, man. Yes. You have the right to express your opinion.
Yes, you do. And some of us...
We express our opinions in different ways, right?
I was going to say, some people express more than others, don't they?
Hey, God bless America. That's what it's all about. You've got the freedom to stand on the steps of the county executive building and say that we're all idiots, and I defend your right to be able to do that. You go ahead and do it.
Well, speaking of that, Mike, I have to be honest with you. I don't think you're doing a real good job as a politician because I ask you questions and you give me answers. So here, let me give you a lesson. Let's do some role playing. You ask me a question. And I'll answer it as a politician should.
So, Brad, I was curious what the weather's going to be like today.
Well, Mike, I'm glad you asked that question. A lot of us really are concerned about what happens with the atmosphere on a 24-hour basis. And, it's one of those things where we really have to keep updated on it. And it's one of those things that if you don't really keep updated on, sometimes you find yourself all wet and all cold. But, that's the way it is. How did I do?
That was great. And I have no idea if it's going to get up to 50 today or if it's going to rain. But I'm going to guess that most of the weather is going to happen outside.
Yes, there you go. Mike Elam, if people want to get in contact with you, what's the best way they can?
Go to the County Council website at sccmo.org and go to the County Council page, and you'll find all my contact information there. I would also encourage you to go back to that page on a regular basis. If you go to the COVID-19 site, which is on the front page, you can just find a link to it there. Every day at 5 o'clock, those numbers are updated automatically. So every day at 5, you will get the latest numbers as to where St. Charles County sits with our cases.
And we put that on our new website. I don't know if you saw this before or not, westplex.news, and all that information is all there on the website as well, too. Mike, thank you very much. And by the way, it's 7:45 and 46, 47, 48 seconds. Mike, his day job is he works at Master Clock, which is an internationally renowned manufacturing company located right in St. Charles, right?
Right down the street from Lindenwood University, in between Lindenwood and Funman Ford on West Clay.
That's right.
We are a Department of Defense contractor, so they tend to ask us to stay open.
and you also have contracts with a lot of other government agencies. FAA uses your stuff. Essentially what Master Clock does, it's precision timing. If you need precision timing, and believe it or not, with the world of computers and cell phones and everything like that, everybody has to have the same time. Otherwise, the whole system crashes.
Yeah, we had a great week last week where there were a couple of launches that happened using our countdown system. So we were very excited about that. I just worked on 2 programs last week with NASA. So we're very excited. When you need to make sure your time is exact, Master Clock is the place that you come.
Whoa. So hold on. You're talking like launches, like spaceship kind of stuff?
Yeah, we do a lot of Department of Defense. Aerospace is our number one category. So we work with NASA on countdown systems, and whenever you see that countdown to launch, like there was just a new Space Force satellite that went up a couple of weeks ago. They use part of our countdown system part of our clock system is within their countdown system.
So Mike, what you're telling me is a former radio guy, Mike Elam, is now like a rocket scientist kind of guy?
Let's say I know them. How about that?
I was going to say, I mean, you must be the smartest guy to ever be in the radio business if you're hanging with rocket scientists now, right?
You know, rocket scientists and radio engineers are my 2 favorite people in the world.
Mike, we'll talk again.
Next to the Marines.
Yeah. We'll talk again next week.
All right. Have a great one. Thanks, guys.
Bye. He's such a good guy, isn't he? I mean,
he really is. He's so funny.
He's the unpolitician. You know,
he is.
You ask him a question, you get an answer. You know, it's not like
an answer that makes sense.
Yes.
That it's pertinent to the question.
But you didn't like my answer about weather?
Why would I not like that?
Never mind. 7:48. Westplex 107.1 and the donut liquor.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Oh, come on.
Oh, my gosh. Would you leave her alone about that? That was years ago.
Oh, you remember she licked the donut? She said, I hate America. You know, we got to remember.
Yes, I remember.
We got to remember
that.
things like that. Hey, what else do you have to remember? Hillerman is open 7 days a week. Yes.
It is.
Yes.
Spring has not stopped.
Get down there, and you know what? And they are letting some people in the store, but you know what? You can go online. They got most of their stuff online right now. You can order it online. You can go down and pick it up. They'll load it at the curb. Depending upon how far out you are, they'll deliver it. Everybody needs mulch right now. Come on. I mean, even if you don't have a house, you need mulch. I mean, you know, to the point where it's been proven that if you put some mulch in the trunk of your car, you'll get 10 to 20 miles per gallon better than if you don't have mulch in your car. Do you know that?
I did not know that.
Now you know.
I had to process what you said, and I'm like...
So Hillerman is a family-owned business. You know what? You need to take care of your garden, your lawn, whatever. Go check out Hillerman. Check them out on the web at hillerman.com. 2 L's, 2 N's, hillerman.com. 7:56. Nothing else to say?
No, 7:56.
Okay. If I ask you anything else to say, you would say...
You know that people say that. People remember that. Do you know how many times that I got that from my sill yesterday?
What?
That.
Do you know what? The big thing that everybody's talking about is this Joe Exotic Tiger King thing. And what you don't realize is that Shelley is in episode 4 of The Tiger King, where they interview her and, you know, talking about the tigers and stuff like that. And they said, and now here's Shelley Barr, an expert on these type of things. Shelley, what do you think about this?
I don't think that we should be called cougars anymore. I think we should be called panthers.
But Shelley, we're talking about tigers. What do you think about that again?
I don't think that we should be called cougars anymore. I think we should be called panthers.
That's Shelley Barr. Thank you so much. That's part of the documentary. Did you know that?
I did not, but thank you for bringing that up. I feel so much better.
It's 7:57.
Westplex 107.1.
Yes, that's what I just said. She's always talking. Good morning to you. It is BS in the Morning. It is 8:04. I am Brad. She is Shelley. Our website is bsinthemorning.show. Shelley, did you schedule the guests like I told you to schedule the guests?
I did.
About, let me think, it's 8:04. This came in at 7:48. So in other words, exactly at 16 minutes ago, I got a text, and this is what the text says. Praying for you today. This week, I'm praying for one small business owner a day, and today it's KSLQ. These are tough days, and I can't imagine the pressure you're under. I'm praying for peace in your heart and life today, Brad. I appreciate you and all that you do for our community. Please let me know if I can help in any way. Yes, Chris Highfill, come on the air with me and talk about that.
Yeah, Brad, hey, good to hear your voice today. And you were just on my mind this morning, and I decided that I was going to start just praying for small business owners this week. And it's after Easter, and we've got a lot of hope because of Easter. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to pray for my friends. And you came to my mind and my heart, and so I just thought today's Brad's day.
So you're doing a small business every day?
I'm going to pray for a small business every day.
Wow. Chris Highfill is the lead pastor of Grace River Church. And, I tell you what, I mean, I saw this because here's what normally happens. And I don't know if you know this about the radio business, but, nowadays, in the old days, people would call you up in the request line and say, you guys suck. Now they do that with tweets. That's stupid. Why did you say that on the air? You're a jerk. So instead I got a nice text message. And I'm thinking to myself, who's this? It's Chris Highfill.
Yeah, I like to dish out encouragement early in the morning because it's the only thing we get back in return whenever we give it out. And so I know Mondays in my world as a pastor, Monday can sometimes be hard. And so I like to combat the case of the Mondays by being an encourager, and it just always seems to come back. And look, it already has.
Now, I'm curious. You said something that Mondays are hard for you being a pastor. Why is that?
I think that Sundays are usually always just amazing days in the life of a church, and even in these days, we're seeing some great results at our church, even taking our church online. And I think Mondays can sometimes be the euphoric crash a little bit of like, oh man, we experienced all these great things, but now we have kind of a mess to clean up. Still, there's still there's still difficult things that you're walking through with people, and you're always kind of second-guessing yourself on what you wish you would have done differently or said differently. You got maybe there's believe it or not, we get the negative tweets too and the negative Facebook stuff. And, it's just if you want everybody to like you, sell ice cream. I think Steve Jobs said that. And so, I'm that's one of my big struggles in my life is I want to make sure everybody likes me. But, man, the reality is that even Jesus had people that didn't like him. So we're in good company.
I hear you. Now, Chris, I find interesting guy. He comes to the St. Louis area, 6 years ago now?
Yeah, my wife and I moved here a little over 6 years ago.
Decided to start a church. Started a church in his living room. Moved to the cafeteria or the gym at John Weldon School?
Yeah, it was both. We used the cafeteria and the gym.
And then moved over to the YMCA on O'Fallon. And now he's got his own place, which he opened up in December, but unfortunately, you're not using it on Sundays because of the Charlie 19 stuff. Here's the nosy question for you, and we talked about this last time I had it in the air. Your wife and your daughter, your wife who is an ER nurse, came down with the virus. How's she doing?
She's doing a ton better. In fact, she just clocked in about an hour ago for her first shift post-COVID-19. And so she's back on the front lines today. And so she's courageous, man. Way braver than me.
So she's back at work already?
She's back at work already, yeah.
And I mean, there's been all this talk that you can get it twice. Is that like a concern for her? Or is she just saying, hey, you know what, I'm doing my job?
Yeah, I mean, she's just excited to get back at it, and she loves helping people, so she's back at it. She's been symptom-free for 3 or 4 days, and that they say that's all it takes to be able to go back to work, and so that's where she's at.
Now, your daughter had it as well, too. Is she doing well?
Yeah, she's bounced back, and actually both my daughters got it. They bounced back in less than half of the amount of time that it took Sarah.
No kidding. Now, and obviously you're quarantined at home with them. You didn't ever get it?
Yeah, it's shocking that my son and I never got it. There's 5 of us in the house, and somehow he and I dodged a bullet. I was sleeping downstairs and using separate restrooms and stuff like that, and wiping down doorknobs and every solid surface I could find. Almost every hour. My hands are pretty chapped from washing them and all that stuff over and over again. But we somehow came out unscathed. I don't know if I'm asymptomatic or what, but all I know is that I didn't get it. So.
Well, I'm going to say
very fortunate.
I'm going to say something weird, but maybe you've got a special connection.
Yeah, who knows, man? Who knows? I'm just I'm grateful that that even the case that my wife got was fairly mild. It was really difficult, but still, she didn't have to get admitted to the hospital or anything like that, and so we feel very fortunate and blessed.
Well, for those of you who've never been to Grace River Church, there will be a day, hopefully real soon, where you can go back to the services on Sunday morning. For the time being, are you back doing it from the church streaming, or are you still from your house?
Yeah, this weekend I'll actually be recording from the church, which will be nice. So last 2 weeks I've had to record from my living room, but it's been fun either way. I feel like a YouTuber. I've got a little, stand with my phone clips in with a light ring, and so it kind of feels weird, but excited to be able to at least go back to the facility. And it's a great chance if you're kind of looking to experience a church and not the awkwardness of having to meet a bunch of people. Man, you're welcome to come check out our church if you're listening at graceriver.cc. You can actually watch sermons right now online, and so you can check us out. And so we have services on demand right now, and so the last 3 or 4 weeks we've got posted, and so we'd love for you to check those out online. It's just a great chance to kind of check out our church without having to check out our church. The majority of people that I meet that visit Grace River Church have already watched several services online, and so I think that's a really great way for you to get started. So if you're listening and you're looking for some hope, you're looking for some encouragement, I encourage you to check us out online at graceriver.cc. And from the front page, you'll be able to navigate and be able to see how you can stream our online services.
I am touched that today is the day that you're praying for us. I mean, because quite honestly, I'm not trying to play it we got a bad deal here, but it's tough being in the radio business right now because, radio business is sort of hard to begin with. But when everything closes down and we cannot promote any more events and we can't, put new advertisers on the air because nobody's doing anything, it's a little bit funky, to be honest with you, Chris.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like a sports announcer, right? And so what are those guys? I haven't watched ESPN in the last several weeks. I imagine it's pretty dry.
They're rerunning old stuff, and matter of fact, they've got turtle races on and stuff like that. I mean, it's sort of bizarre. Yeah. Well, Chris, thank you so much.
We just appreciate you guys, and we'd love that you're active in the O'Fallon Chamber of Commerce Industries. Really appreciate the friendship with you and with Shelley and KSLQ and Westplex 107.1, and we just feel very fortunate that we're a part of this community with you guys.
Well, we do what we can, and like I said, it's gotten tough for us. And I'm not, I said, I think here, I think what's going to happen, and maybe you're on the leading edge of this, is that there's going to come a day, maybe it'll be sooner than later, and where things will start to get back to normal. And I think everybody will feel much better, and I think that they'll maybe appreciate the fact that, things we took for granted, like going to the store, going to your church on Sunday morning. I mean, even going to the chamber meetings where you could, sit next to people and have lunch and shake hands and things like that. Maybe the shaking hand things won't come back, but still, there'll be a day we'll get back to normal, and I think we'll all appreciate it more. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I agree. I look forward to all those community events. I don't even like baseball that much. I'm excited to go to a Cardinals game, and so... just stuff like that. We definitely took all those things for granted, and this is a great reminder. But I tell you, man, from my perspective, I do think that we're running this rat race of life, and and we're all on this treadmill, and our treadmill just broke.
Yeah, I hear you.
So what's great is we get a little opportunity to reset here. And when in life do you ever get an opportunity to reset? This is just a great moment, and we'll never have it. We more than likely will never have this again in our entire lifetime. And so we might as well embrace it and do the reset together. And then we come back even better and stronger. And so I'm looking forward to coming back as a community even better, even stronger than we were before.
Leave it to Chris Highfill to leave us on such a positive note. I'm telling you. Thank you so much. Web address one more time.
You can check us out online at graceriver.cc. Really appreciate you guys. And I legitimately and wholeheartedly am praying for you today.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. What a great guy he is, isn't he? Not that he's praying for us.
He's such a good soul.
I got that. And I didn't tell you. I sort of slipped that one in, but she found out because he posted on Facebook he was going on. But I'm going like, he sent me this text out of the clear blue. I'm going like, he's praying for us? For us? Why would he do that? But, I mean, it's
probably because we're a small business and we're struggling despite what people think.
Well, I think everybody knows we struggle,
I don't know if they do or not.
Yeah, it's the being in our industry. I mean, any of the media right now. I mean, it's all just crazy time. Even like everybody's even like digital. I mean, digital's way off because of the fact that nobody's doing anything. I mean, you can't promote the fact that you're open, for a lunchtime special today because there are no restaurants that are doing lunchtime special unless it's at the drive-through. You can't promote the fact that there's an event that's going on tonight. Or there's a business after hours with the chamber or something like that because they're not doing it. So anyway, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. He's a good guy. I like him. And, if you've never checked out his church before, the running joke is that he kept kidding me when he opened up his new church, the new building there on Veterans Memorial Parkway in the south side of 70 between, Billow Creek, T.R. Hughes, and Salt Lick.
Yes.
That he said that, and he told me this to my face. He said, if you show up at my church, I will pee in my pants. So I said, well, whoa. So he threw down the challenge. So I went and I bought a big old pack of Depends, and I showed up at his church the very first morning. And I walked up to him and I go, Chris, I'm here, and go ahead and pee. Just put these on and you'll be just fine. And he got the biggest kick out of it. And he said he still has those. He
really did get the biggest kick out of it. He thought that was so funny.
He has those Depends at some place in his office or something like that. Every once in a while he refers to them. He says, that's what happens. So anyway, good guy. Hey, anything you got real quick? Because we're going to play some music. We're behind.
I think we need to play some music.
816 Westplex 107.1. It is BS in the morning. It is Brad and Shelley. She is Brad. I'm Shelley. Is that right?
That's absolutely correct.
And our website is bsinthemorning.show. I don't want to see, especially after having Chris Highfill on, I don't want to be like Mr. Negative Energy here, but I ordered some parts for the radio station, okay? And I got them on eBay. Mr. Recycle, I'm buying used stuff on eBay, right? And everybody is always dissing the post office. And quite honestly, I've had great luck with the post office lately. If somebody ships me something, a package, I get it in like 2 days. Even if it's like coming from the West Coast, the East Coast, I'm going like, damn, this is good. So having said that, here's the escapade of one of the things I ordered not last week, but the week before, which was shipped not this past Friday, but a week ago Friday, okay? And as it slowly but surely, at least I hope, makes its way here, this came out of, which one is it? It is this one. Okay, this one came out of California, okay? And it's like all over the place. It started out in Tracy, California, okay? Then Seligam, Arizona. Then Vega, Texas. Then Cuba, Missouri. Then Champaign, Illinois, then Champaign, Illinois again, then Chicago, then Champaign, Illinois, and finally Overland. So maybe, and it says right now, it's on FedEx vehicle for delivery, okay? So it's had a nice tour almost of 2/3 of the United States. I mean, like, is that crazy or what?
That's pretty cray-cray.
Why would it?
But you eventually got it, right?
No, I still haven't gotten it. Still haven't gotten it. So it's been
that's funny.
It's been like this is day 12, as it bounces around, but once again, it was in Cuba, and then it went to Champaign, and then it went to Chicago. So it's like, okay, so it was in a truck, and it drove right by St. Louis on 44, and then went up 55, or what is it? I think Champaign's on 57. Yeah, so it went up 55, 57, then it went up to Chicago, and it came back down, and now it's in Overland. And they're shutting that place down in Overland? Do you know that? The FedEx terminal, it's right there on 170, just as you come south on 170. It's just as you cross over Page, it's to the right, between Page and Olive. They're shutting that down. They're going to move everything out to St. Peter's.
I thought they were shutting down Earth City.
That too. They're going to move everything. Apparently, they're building. I don't know where it's at. Is it in 370? The Fountain Park out there, whatever they call it. What is that place? The business of fountains at 370. What is that called? You know what I'm talking about?
I have no idea.
Anyway, supposedly they're moving everything out there. So that's going to be the new FedEx hub, and they're consolidating like 2 or 3 places into one big old monstrous place out there. So once again, a lot of people don't realize it, but man, there's a lot of shipping that goes on in the St. Louis area. But you know what? Not as much as it should be, because if you look at where we're at, first off, we're at the confluence of 2 big rivers, so there's barge traffic. Missouri and Mississippi comes right up and down. Mississippi goes, north and south. Missouri goes east and west, at least in this part of the country it does. We've got all the interstates. We got 55, we got 44, we got 64, we got 70. Am I missing any? And right smack dab in the middle of the country, but yet every time I drive through Memphis, and I don't do it all that often anymore, but I used to have a business down there, but every time when I drive through Memphis, there's a big sign that always sort of ticks me off, and it says something to the effect that welcome to Memphis, the shipping hub of the country. And part of that has to do with the fact that that's FedEx's main terminal, that at least the overnight stuff, when it goes on the plane, it ends up in in Memphis for the most part. At one point in time, did you know that almost everything that went overnight in the country went through Memphis?
What did you just say?
Almost everything in the country, one point in time with FedEx, if you ship something overnight, almost every single thing went through Memphis. That was the hub. So in other words, if you were shipping something overnight, like a package or even like an overnight letter, if you were shipping it from like let's say from Florida to Michigan, it stopped in Phoenix because all the planes would come in at night. They would do all the sorting there in Memphis, and then they would put it on the proper plane. It would go back out, and then it would be dropped off at the terminal. Like, for example, here in St. Louis, the FedEx overnight terminal is on the north side of the airport. If you know where McDonald is, there's a terminal right there. UPS is up there and FedEx is up there. They're on the north side, sort of where, if you remember the old days, where 94th Aero Squadron used to be, not too far from there.
I love that place. That was an icon.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, it's an empty field now. But so everything in the country goes through Memphis, and that's what they at least used to, and that's what they brag about. Memphis has got a big hub, and obviously Memphis is on the Mississippi as well too, so they take advantage of that. But I'm thinking, why isn't St. Louis the shipping hub? We should be, because we got, in Memphis they don't have that many interstates. They got 55 and 40, and I think that's pretty much it. I'm trying to think if any other interstates go through there. 40 goes through there east and west, and 55 goes north and south. I think those are the only two. We've got, in the state of Missouri, I talked to somebody a couple weeks ago about this. I mean, we've got I don't know, I think it's 10 or 11 interstates in the state of Missouri. How many other states can say that?
Not a lot.
Well, I know. It's the part. It's like, okay, how come Missouri isn't like the shipping hub? Well, to a certain extent, we are, but not as well as we could be. It is 8:29. Westplex 107.1. I like that song, 841, although that's the super clean version of that song. Shelley, you ever do deep thinking?
I always am a deep thinker.
Okay, have you ever wondered about language in that why are some words taboo and others aren't? Who did that? I mean, like, for example, like that.
My favorite word?
Well, that song is actually, the title of it is Lonely, but if you listen to the unedited version of it, it's Lonely AF.
AF.
Okay, so it's the F word. Okay, who designated that F word to be a bad word? who said that? And all sorts of bad words like the S word.
I don't know because it's my favorite word. It goes with everything. It's very.
Listen to you. No, but
it does.
No, but I'm serious. Who said that? Like the N word was bad. Who said that? Like if you call somebody a cracker, that's an insult. Or if you like for example, it used to be. I mean, like when I was growing up, when I was a kid, my mom was in special education, and she taught retarded kids. That's what you said. And to the point where, that was one of the things that, and now that's like the R word. You can't say that anymore. Oh, you can't say that. I mean, like, okay, who A, originally made those words bad, and B, who's the people that made them bad now? Because there's certain words that you used to be able to say that you can't say anymore. And that's one of them. If you say, he's retarded, people go, oh, you can't say that anymore. Okay, well, I'm an old guy. How come I used to be able to say that and I can't say it anymore? Who's the person that does that? And why are we so weird about words? If I say the word love, people go like, oh, that's nice. If I say the word hate, people go, oh, not good.
Because that automatically puts it's how you feel. Maya Angelou always said.
Here we go.
I know. But she did. And a person will forget what you said, a person will forget what you did, but a person will never forget how you made them feel. And those two particular words are feels. And one of them makes you feel really good, and the other one makes you feel not so good.
But how did that happen? And how do we get new words? I mean, every year, like the beginning of the year, there's
Urban Dictionary.
Well, there's a perfect example. I mean, if you take some crazy slang and you look, even stuff that's relatively new, you look up an Urban Dictionary, there's like 20 definitions. It's like, okay, so which one is it? If I say this, which definition do I use? And who comes up with those? Is that just something like for example, the word which I heard recently, and it sort of crept in my vocabulary again, hinky. Okay, someone says, oh, that's sort of hinky. Okay, what does that mean?
It means sketch.
Sketchy?
Yeah.
Okay, what does sketchy mean?
It means, let me think of a word for it. Not right.
Okay, according to a dictionary, according to Merriam-Webster, definition of hinky, slang, nervous, jittery, suspicious. But yet, if there also is definition, another website, Wiktionary, hinky, comparative hinkier are more hinky, superlative hinkiest are most hinky, informal, acting suspiciously. Okay, so where did that word come from?
I have no idea.
It's one of those things where it's like, now there is vernacular that's used like in businesses. Like we've got all sorts of crazy things. Like we've got, in our industry, we call, like technically we have what we call like STLs and ratings wise, we have what, PPM and like, for example, one of the things that always cracked me up when I first got in the radio business is a guy, one of my mentors says, the worst thing you can ever be is a puker. And I looked at him and I go, what's a puker? And he goes, one of those guys who talks like that. Hey, I'm a DJ and I'm talking on the radio. Hey, we're playing the hits for you. DJ radiation would never sound like that, don't you think?
No. No, you wouldn't sound like that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway.
DJ radiation, maybe, because he's like your alter ego, but things you normally wouldn't do and say, DJ radiation is not that.
Boy, did I get myself in trouble last week because there was this unfortunate story that came out. I'm going to say it, and you're going to get mad at me when I'm going to say it. So,
what?
Their story came out, and man, I hate like heck to use this as sort of a, we've turned it into something somewhat funny, but it was sad. A guy by the name of DJ Cut
He got
He
I know
got
what you're
cut
gonna say.
from 95.5, one of the local radio stations. And this is happening all over the radio business. Every time I open up one of the trade publications, it's like, so-and-so's laid off all their disc jockeys at XYZ station. Their news department has been fired. And oh, my God, it's terrible. So anyway, locally, DJ Cut was on afternoons on 95.5. And his sidekick was...
Really?
His sidekick was Miss Pooh. Pooh. So as a joke, it just came out of my mouth that I was going to rename myself when you and I do afternoons, because we do afternoons as well as mornings. I was going to rename myself DJ Radiation, which I couldn't believe that nobody had bought. And I went and, in between breaks, when I did this last week, I found that I could buy djradiation.com. So, hey, babe, I'm going to radiate my radio waves right into your head. I'm DJ Radiation, right? Sort of like almost like a Wolfman Jack kind of thing. So I called my sidekick Mrs. Pooh. I think she just turned her mic off. Are you there, Shelley? Oh, she's gone. Well, it wasn't you that I called. She literally got so mad at me. She's gone. Oh, well. 847. Westplex 107.1. It is Circles X55. 855. That's going to do it for BS in the morning. I think Shelley left. Is she there? She did leave. She got mad at me. Are you there, Shelley? No, she got mad at me. Never to be heard from again. Well, that's going to do it for BS in the morning. Appreciate you coming by this morning. We will talk to you this afternoon at 4 o'clock right here on Westplex 107.1 and on the web at westplex1071.com. 856.